for the day, beautiful people. Top of the day. Alright, can you see me? Can you see me real quick? Alright. Tiffany, hey girl, hey, that's Waboo, that's Waboo. Alright, girl. Sorry, I was running a few minutes behind today. I ain't gonna lie. I was jamming out in the bathroom and stuff. I was brushing my teeth and looked down at my phone. I was like, oh, snap. Okay. That's why I'm late today. Yeah. Jam out session while I was getting myself together. I lost track of time. All right, y'all. Happy Friday. Friday. It is Friday, September the 4th, 2020, day 243, and we are reading Malachi 1, 2, 3, and 4. They are short chapters, but we're going to read them all today. Now, let me share something with you. Yibo Sawubona, Tiffany. Yibo Sawubona. Let me share something with y'all this morning, right? Let me tell you. Y'all is so faithful. As over the last few years, right, as we read through the Old Testament and we pay attention to how Yahuwah speaks to the people and just the different things he say, and I keep bringing it back up to y'all and reiterating things he say, right? I take those things daily and practice them in my life as much as possible. You know, I line my life up, you know. So one of the things that we always hear Yahuwah say to the kings, he said, like, if there's something going on, Yahuwah said, is there no prophet in the land? He said, should you not have come and inquired of me first? You know, so if something was going wrong, a lot of the kings had a bad habit of going to seek out different people and talking to the magicians and the guild of prophets, not necessarily Yahuwah's prophets, but the guild of prophets. They could have gotten that gift from Yah, but they were completely perverting it in the land, you know, so the king was seeking them for advice and the wise men and everything, right? And but the kings knew better, you know, so when they would get bum information from their guild of prophets, they would say, okay, where is such and such, or where's Micah or Micaiah? Where's he at? They say, oh yeah, you know, I hate him. He don't never tell us nothing good, you know. So with that, I began a while ago to make it a practice in my life, even with just like little small things, just to make sure that I'm developing like my inner ear, so to speak, you know. So like I'm gonna share something with you. That's why I'm giving you like this precursor before I share this with you, right? So I was like, Father, I don't ever want it to be where you're trying to say something to me and I completely miss it because I'm not tuned in. I'm totally like, my ear has become deaf to you or what, you know. So even in the small things, I want to learn how to hear your voice. Remember when Elijah was running from Jezebel, he was on the run. I'm like, why are you running from Jezebel? You just had the big showdown on Mount Carmel. Why are you running from this woman, right? You know, so he got there and he was in a cave and Yah began to speak through him, and it was this thunder and roaring and all that. Y'all know how the story go. But it said that the voice of Yah wasn't in the whirlwind and all these other things. And he said the last thing he heard Yah's voice in the quiet place, right? You know, so I constantly think about that. So I put that to practice in every single thing in my life. If I have a question or something's going wrong, I always go to Yah first, right? And I'm about to give you a couple examples. And let me tell you, yesterday, I'm gonna say this is one of those times where I didn't ask, but Yah is so faithful. Betwabu. Yah is so faithful that he reminds us of things, right? Okay, so remember yesterday when we did the video, I was saying tomorrow is the last book of the prophets, and then remember how I pushed Psalms and Proverbs to the end this time so we can read through all the books of the prophets first, and then we'll read Psalms and Proverbs, right? I reminded y'all of that yesterday. Yesterday, while I was working, y'all reminded me of something that I completely forgot when I told y'all that the first time, right? So, man, and it's so right on time because today would be the last day before we start Psalms and Proverbs. I'm going to tell you why I say would be. So I was sitting here working yesterday, you know, and I'm just working, doing some bookkeeping work and everything, and then listening to music, and then when I look at my phone, this was probably I say maybe about 10 something, maybe 10 in the morning, right? And so I get a notification from a YouTube video, one of my morning YouTube videos, because not only do I do them live here on Facebook, but every morning I upload it to both my YouTube channels, right? So I get a notification from one of them, and I was like, and somebody said this video was dope. And I'm like, what video was that I did? He said it was dope. So I clicked on it, right? I read the comment. He said this video was so dope. And so I saw myself, how you give a little thumbnail to preview of the video. So I was like, I don't remember. This was from June the 2nd this year. I was like, I clearly don't remember what I read on that day. I read the title. I said, let me just click on the video and I listen to it while I'm working, right? So because I couldn't readily think of something, you're back in June. So I just wanted to listen to the video. In the first 2 minutes of that video, is what I'm talking about, where y'all reminded me the very first time I told y'all that we were doing an adjustment to the reading where I was moving Psalms and Proverbs was on that day, June the 2nd, 2020. And not only did I say Psalms and Proverbs, but I also said the book of Job. I'm like, that's right. We didn't read the book of Job. I added it with Psalms and Proverbs because they're kind of like right there. So I just lumped all three of them together. So it wasn't just Psalms and Proverbs. I said, you know what, Father, thank you so much, because this was absolutely timely, because today will be the last day because we're finishing up the 4 chapters, and I wouldn't need to have known that before I started Psalms and Proverbs. So I said all that to say, tomorrow we're going to start the book of Job. And once we're done with the book of Job, we're going to read the last 2 books, which is Psalms and Proverbs. So let me give you a couple more examples of how Yahuwah did I talk. I'm sure y'all do the same thing, but I just, since I'm there, I'm just go ahead and say it, right? Okay, so the other day, probably about what's today? Say Friday. I'll say Monday. One of my neighbors, who actually, he's 2 doors down, he actually moved out, and he's looking to rent his property, but he hasn't rented it out yet. So every week, faithfully, he comes here and he, makes sure his stuff is safe, and he keeps up the yard, he cuts the grass, and he checks on his flowers and all that stuff. And so he decided yesterday when he was out here cutting the grass that he would cut the neighbor beside him grass. He came over here and he cut ours too. I'm like, oh, thank you, Daniel. I sure appreciate that, So as he was cutting, and normally he'll sweep up the dead grass or whatever, but he didn't do any of that. He did. He just didn't get the dead grass that he cut over here in our yard. And I'm like, I ain't tripping, I appreciate him coming to cut the yard, So the least I can do is get out there and sweep up the dead grass. So I was like, okay, I get to it later, But the day had went on. I completely forgot about it and stuff. And, so I got up the next morning when I was walking James out the house. I looked and I saw that. I was like, darn it, I forgot to get that grass up. It's just need to just take a broom and, sweep down a little, the little median and stuff where the dead grass. You know how if you don't have a bag on your lawnmower that'll suck up all the dead grass, it'll just kind of spit it out the other side. You got to break it up, sweep it up, blow it, whatever. You got to get it up, right? So I was like, oh, I'll make sure I get that today, So go out, and I should have grabbed the broom then while I was thinking about it. Kids were still asleep, but I didn't. I came back in here. I figured the kids were still asleep and go ahead and bust out some work and get it done, So the day went on, and when I got up again, I was like, darn it. I was like, okay. So, but when I went away from the door, I went to the living room, and Bella said something. I forgot. But anyway, I got sidetracked again. But anyway, came back, sit down. Next thing I knew, when I looked out the window, my neighbor from this end over here, all the way on the end, Miss Lynn, she pays for a service to get her yard done. And so they was out here, and they had the little blower and stuff. And so they out here blowing after they cut the grass and blowing. And he came all the way over here. Mind you, this is a thought. I'm like, Father, I'm going to have to, just going back and forth in my head with y'all. I'm going to have to get out there and do that, sweep that up. But anyway, he comes all the way over here. Like, how did you see it over here in my yard? He comes over here because there's a whole car blocking where you can't even see the grass on this little median over here. So he comes over here, he saw it, he just started blowing it away. I'm like, I was like, Father, I was moving so slow, but thank you so much that you care about the things that I care about when I'm just busy in my day, and you just kind of handled that for me, right? Okay, so that was another one. Also, let me tell you, there was a couple days ago, Bella had left with me to go to the warehouse, and I took the iPad, right? And so went to the warehouse, came back. When we were getting out, we had stopped past the store, and I got a couple things, and we left the iPad in the car, right? And didn't think about it anymore. So the next day, when I'm looking for the iPad to start doing her little like ABC Mouse and all that stuff, I'm going through the house. I was like, man, I forgot to put it on the charger last night. But it completely did not dawn on me that we left out the day before to go to the work. Like, I wasn't thinking about that because, like, if she misplaced it, it's either in a room somewhere and it fell between the chairs. So I'm checking all those little hiding places for it and everything. And so I'm like, Father, where is this iPad? Where is this iPad? And all throughout the day, I looked for that until the next day. And I was standing at the kitchen. I was washing dishes. And Bella happened to come into the kitchen to play with her toys. So I'm standing there and I'm just thinking about it because I'm like, I really need to charge that thing in. Otherwise, we're just going to just do it by hand today, right? And so I stood there at the sink and I was like, Father, where is that iPad? And I said it just like that. It wasn't loud. I was like, Father, where is that iPad? And Bella was sitting in the kitchen at this table on the other side of her. She said, Mom, iPad in the car. I said, the iPad in the car. And still didn't dawn on me that we left out the day before, like it didn't click. I'm like, why would the iPad be in the car, Bella? And when I said it, I was like, oh, I was like, Father, thank you. You know, so it's a lot of little things like that Yah cares about, even the smallest things that we care about. Even if I like misplace my keys or something, he'll always, hey, go look here. Major thing, a couple days ago, got up in the middle of the night to go use the bathroom, and I heard you say your downstairs windows are unlocked. I said, I always check them, but I didn't check them that night. Came downstairs, lo and behold, the living room windows were unlocked. So it's things like that, and it's just like, you know how you walk me when Yah tells you something and it's like boom, it's exactly what he said it is. It's like I get that hot sensation flow across my body, start sweating under my arms. I was like, oh, thank you so much. You know, so it's just little things like that, because that's my prayer. I don't ever want to be in a situation where it could actually be a matter of life and death, and I don't hear that small voice, because he says it so sweet. He just said, your downstairs windows are unlocked. You know, it's just like that. I hear it. You know, and one night Jeremiah had went outside. He was talking on the phone to his friends, came back. He was going back and forth, but he hadn't locked the door. And another night, I hadn't even went to sleep yet. It was probably about midnight because I was up working late, doing some research and stuff. I heard you would say, your back door is unlocked. I'm like, and I learned to stop saying my back door is not unlocked, because I checked it, but I forgot. Jeremiah had gone downstairs after me. I had checked everything down here, talking and sitting on the back porch because we got lights and stuff out there. I learned to just keep my mouth shut and just go check. You know, because what if it's some burglar out there and my door is unlocked or my window is unlocked? But I so thank Yah for that. So I wanted to encourage you guys, like, if you don't seek Yah first, begin seeking him first. Ask him first. If there's an issue with something first, ask him first. Be like, Father, I need help. I really don't understand. I don't know. Go to him first. He is so faithful. He's always faithful. He's always faithful. I cannot reiterate that to you enough. But I just wanted to share that with y'all today. I know it took probably about 10 minutes to do that, but I really wanted to share that because I thought that was just freaking awesome, you know. So we're going to go ahead and do the reading for today. We're starting in Malachi, and tomorrow we start Job, right? Okay, so Malachi chapter 1. This is the message that Yahuwah gave to Israel through the prophet Malachi. Yahuwah's love for Israel. I have always loved you, says Yahuwah. But you retort, really? How have you loved us? Oh, one more thing. Okay, so you know, when we read through Hosea, remember how he was talking about, he told Hosea to go marry a prostitute, right? You know, so Hosea did it and Yahuwah kind of just broke it down. He said, this is how Israel has turned to other gods and constantly commit adultery and all these things against me. He said she goes out and she took the things that I gave her, you know, not even realizing that it was I who gave it to her, right? So I think about that. You know how sometimes, and here's a great example I'm going to share with you. You know how we just kind of go through life, and although it's not Yahuwah physically, he's not manifesting, but he uses other people to bring you things or give you something that you've been praying about. That's what he's talking about. He said, it's been I who has provided these things for you. Even while we're here in the land of our captivity, things that we have need of, and even when we cry out to him, even if we call him by another name, it's him it's Yah who answers us. This is, no matter whether you calling him JC, although I stopped because of the confusion, I don't do that because I know it's him now. I just directly talk to Yah. I use Yahuwah. I don't say JC, but I understand some people do, and I don't negate the fact that some people who call Yah JC are really talking to Yah. They just don't realize that that's not his name because that's how they were brought up and that's what's worked for them. I get that. So that's why I don't really harp on that so much anymore, because I understand, because I was there, because I was like, Father, all this time, even while I was growing up, he said, his people call him by names, but he said, but it's always been me who answers them and provided them with everything they need. So even in that, it just breaks me all the time, So like, even with my aunt, like I love listening to her stories about her interactions with the supernatural and stuff. And it was like, so as I was learning, and okay, I don't want to call you by names of Bill, I started thinking about all these different things that's happened in my life where we clearly know it was Yah who showed up, but we use the name JC, So as I began to decipher like truth from error and realizing although they were calling Yah by another name, it was still him who was showing up, blessing them, I was like, okay, so but now that I know, like I said, I don't use that name anymore. I completely talk to Yah because Yah said it's only me. It's only me. He said, I am Echad, I am one, right? So I'm like, so anything that happens, even my prayers, I say to them, I was like, Father, in your most holy name. It took me a while to break myself out of that, but even when I do that, nothing has stopped. It's actually sped up my prayers and stuff get answered a lot faster because I know it's Yah and I completely solely focus on him, right? Okay, so right here, when I got here to Malachi, it reminded me of that, how I just told y'all, get into the habit of just talking to Yah, going to him first if there's an issue. If you got a need about something, just go to Yah. Yah, what should I do? This, and that. Go to Yah first, even if it's something like if you have a dream about something and you don't quite know, because I used to get into a habit of getting up and Googling, what does this mean? I stopped doing that. Before I even did that, I'm like, Father, that's okay, what does that mean? And a lot of times when I would do that, like I would hear a word or something, you would actually tell me what the word meant. And after I got that, then I would go Google it. And that's what blew my freaking mind, that what he told me is what it actually meant. When I Googled it, I'm like, oh, snap. So, it gets pretty fun. And it's really, really awesome as you begin to develop that. But Yahuwah, as he wakes his people up and they began to return to him, and he shaves off that fat off of you and all the indoctrination, and you begin to really know him for who he is and get to know him, and as we begin to return to him, he shows you and he begins to point out different things in your life. He said, that was me. I was the one who gave you that. When people show up or you don't have food or something, that was me, so that's what he talked about in Israel. He said, right here when he said, I have always loved you, but you retort, really? How so? I was like, what a smack in the face of Yah. Because if we sit back and we think about our lives, we can clearly tell, like, we were praying or crying out to Yah for something. Because Yahuwah know, like when you're praying, and I talk about this a lot because I know that there are people who are truly, sincerely talking to Yah, but they're calling him by another name simply because of ignorance, and that's how they grew up and they call him JC. But I clearly know that there are people who pray, who use the name JC, and they are not talking about Yah. They are not talking about the creator of heaven and earth. They are not talking about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that's why I made it a point to, when I say that, to bring it out. And I say the creator of heaven and earth, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because I know that there are some people who use the name of JC. If you don't know what JC is, Jesus Christ, that they use that name where they are not talking about him. And a lot of times, if you're not in tune with Yah, you cannot readily decipher who is and who's not really of Yah. I'm gonna give you an example. From everybody should know this because everybody's familiar with the New Testament. You remember when Paul and I think it was Peter and a couple other disciples, they were walking. It was in the book of Acts, and there was this woman there, and she was said, "These men are of the Most High God. These men are from the Most High God," and they got agitated with her, and they said, and she was a soothsayer. Although she was speaking the truth, she was not of Yah. She was really bringing attention to them. They was about to cause this city to lose money because of the healing power. That's how the story goes. Because of healing power Yah that was going on in that place, and she was, I guess she was kind of trying to secure her position in what she was doing. Because what do soothsayers do? Soothsayers, I can tell them fortunes and stuff, but we know it's forbidden by Yah. That's the reason why I make a clear distinction between who I worship and who a lot of churches, they say they worship, but they worship somebody else. Because I know that there are pastors up there. There are actually some witches who are proud to call themselves witches, who have put different pastors and some well-known pastors on blast. Pastors who speak in the name of JC over their church, doing miracles, who have gone to witches for power. That's why I make a very clear distinction. I don't want anybody ever to misunderstand who I am talking about and who I worship. When I say Yahuwah, that's the main reason why I stopped using that name. Because when I saw that, and I actually saw some clips from the pastors, and they the witches don't care. They put some of these pastors on blast, and I've shared a couple things over the last year from different things about the church and some of the shenanigans and stuff, because some of these pastors, because I'm telling you, they really do. Not all of them, but there are some. And there are a few main ones that are on TV. They're not really on TV today because of what's going on. What are they doing it from their homes? But they literally go to witches for power. They do things that are forbidden, that y'all tell us we are forbidden to do, to get power. And then they take that, whatever it is that they gave them false power to do, false signs and wonders, and to deceive people and to drain your pockets dry. And they don't care about anything but themselves and feeding their face and filling their pockets with your money by deceiving you. So I know I lose some people when I say this, but they're not understanding. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm strictly trying to turn you just to Yah alone, and even when you talk about JC in there, if you don't read it for yourself, even JC tells you, he points you back to the Father, but somehow people began to worship him and made him an idol, so I'm like, listen, that's just like worshiping the prophets. The prophets come to tell you to worship Yah. Anybody else, we come to tell you, turn back to him, worship him, not us. We're simply bringing you a message that he's the one, he's the salvation, he's your salvation, he's the deliverer. Everything you need is in him. Go talk to him first, so that's our message, right? So, but a lot of times some people, they're not really there yet. They hear, let me see, they're just jumping from one new thing to another. What you talking about? That sound good, and then something that don't align with their theology, boom, they off to something else or whatever, But that's why I really try to drill it in, when there's something like this, I really want to make it a point so you understand where I'm coming from and why I really stopped using the name. First and foremost, I don't want to call Yah by another name. Think about you. You're jealous over your own name, right? It's like Tiffany. Your name is Tiffany, right? What if somebody start calling you Keisha? At first you give people a little leeway or whatever, right? But oh, girl, what you call me? No, my name not Keisha. My name Tiffany. But somebody that's and they may forget a couple, especially if they just first met you. Oh, I'm sorry. Would you say your name was Tiffany? Okay, I'm sorry, Tiffany. All right, girl, forgive me. I forgot. I'm sorry, Tiffany. Okay, Tiffany. That's your name. Okay. So, but as time go on and you keep having interactions with this person and they keep calling you Keisha, you're going to start getting a little perturbed. Sis, why you keep calling me Keisha? We had this conversation and I told you my name was Tiffany. Why do you keep calling me Keisha? It's one of those type of things. If we are jealous over our own name and we don't want people calling us other names, and I told you multiple times what my name is, why is you still calling me another name? I want to show y'all that same respect, because all through the Old Testament he said, I am jealous over my own name, right? So that's why I like to bring it out. So, okay, enough of the little side note. So let's go back here. All right, Malachi chapter 1. This is the message that Yahuwah gave to Israel through the prophet Malachi. Yahuwah's love for Israel. I have always loved you, says Yahuwah. But you retort, really? How have you loved us? And Yahuwah replies, this is how I show my love for you. I loved your ancestor Jacob, but rejected his brother Esau and devastated his hill country. I turned Esau's inheritance into a desert for jackals. Esau's descendants in Edom may say, we have been shattered, but we will rebuild the ruins. Bella, stop. But Yahuwah replies, they may try to rebuild, but I will demolish them again. Their country will be known as the land of wickedness, and their people will be called the people whom Yahuwah is forever angry. Imagine being labeled one of them, one of the people that Yahuwah is forever angry with. When you see the destruction for yourselves, you will say, truly, Yahuwah's greatness reaches far beyond Israel's borders. Yahuwah says to the priest, a son honors his father, and a servant respects his master. If I am your father and master, where are the honor and respect I deserve? You have shown bruh, listen to this. I didn't even read this ahead. He said, listen. Yahuwah says to the priest, a son honors his father, and a servant respects his master. If I am your father and master, where are the honor and respect I deserve? You have shown contempt for my name. Come on now. But you ask, how have we ever shown contempt for your name? You have shown contempt by offering defiled sacrifices on my altar. Then you ask, how have we defiled the sacrifices? You defile them by saying the altar of Yahuwah deserves no respect. When you give blind animals as sacrifices, isn't that wrong? And isn't it wrong to offer animals that are crippled and diseased? Try giving gifts like that to your governor and see how pleased he is, says Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies. That's just like the same example I just gave about Tiffany's name. Like, if we ourselves are jealous about our own name, and we would get perturbed if somebody kept calling us another name when we clearly told you what our name is. He said, go try doing that to somebody. He said, you think you can get by offering me these disgusting sacrifices, animals that you would not even give to your governors who are blind, lame. They're good for, he didn't say they're good for nothing. He said, but you would go give your governor gifts that are very, 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 very good. He said, why would you come give me something less? I'm going to read that again. I'm going to tell you, this is good all day long. And then you ask, how have we defiled the sacrifices? You defile them by saying the altar of Yahuwah deserves no respect. When you give blind animals as sacrifices, isn't that wrong? And isn't it wrong to offer animals that are crippled and diseased? Try giving gifts like that. Hey, guys, chill.
Someone touch my donuts.
Don't touch her donuts. Try giving gifts like that to your governor and see how pleased he is, says Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies. Go ahead, beg Yahuwah to be merciful to you. But when you bring that kind of offering, why should he show you any favor at all? Asked Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies. How I wish one of you would shut the temple doors so that these worthless sacrifices could not be offered. Let me just go ahead and say it. Like, some of the churches being shut down, y'all said, I wish, how I wish somebody would shut the doors to all these temples, all these churches, so y'all can't do this filthy stuff anymore. He said, stop it. How I wish one of you would shut the temple doors so that these worthless sacrifices could not be offered. Y'all go back upstairs. Go. I am not pleased with you, says Yahuwah, and I would not I will not accept your offerings, but my name is honored by people of other nations from morning till night. All around the world, they offer sweet incense and pure offerings in honor of my name. For my name is great among the nations, says Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies. But you dishonor my name with your actions. By bringing contemptible food, you are saying it's all right to defile the Lord's temple. It's like, he good with this, because we can't see him manifest in front of our face. We pull this stupid crap and think we're going to get away with it. We constantly show Yah dishonor by the things that we do. He said the other nations, and there are other nations who know Yah. He said they honor my name and they bring me sweet sacrifices and incense. And they honor my name, but you dishonor me by the very things you do. And you my people, bruh. But you dishonor my name with your actions by bringing contemptible food. You are saying it's all right to defile Yahuwah's table. You say it's too hard to serve Yahuwah, and you turn up your noses at my commands, says Yahuwah. Think of it. Hey, chill. Think of it. Animals that are stolen and crippled and sick are being presented as offerings. Should I accept from you such offering as these? As Yahuwah? Curse is the cheat who promises to give a fine ram of his flock and then sacrifices a defective one to Yahuwah. For I am a great king, says Yahuwah.
No, break.
Hey, everybody upstairs, go. Get up. Get up. Go. Sorry, 1 second, people. Curse is the cheat who promises to give a fine ram from his flock, but then sacrifices a defective one to Yahuwah. For I am a great king, says Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies, and my name is feared among the nations. Malachi chapter 2, a warning to the priests. Listen, you priests. Remember, he talking to his own people. Remember, the prophets and the priests that Yahuwah talk about, unless he labels them from another nation, all the gifts that come from Yah, he gives them to his people, to his priests. All the prophets and priests of Yahuwah come from Israel. They don't come from other nations. The prophets and priests of Yah come from the bloodline of Israel. It's always been that way. Nothing has ever changed about that. Listen, you priests, this command is for you. Listen to me and make up your minds to honor my name, says Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies, or I will bring a terrible curse against you. I will curse even the blessings you receive. Like, seriously, y'all, for real. I didn't read ahead. Although I read Malachi before, I did not read ahead to pull out the whole name piece. Like, it's blowing me away that I talked about that, and it's literally going over this, how he is jealous about his name. Like,
code.
Okay. I will curse even the blessings you receive. Indeed, I have already cursed them because you have not taken warning. You have not taken my warning to heart. I will punish your descendants and splatter your faces with the manure from your festival sacrifices, and I will throw you on a manure pile. Then at last you will know that it was I who sent you this warning, so that my covenant with the Levites can continue, says Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies. The purpose of my covenant with the Levites was to bring life and peace, and that is what I gave them. This required reverence from them, and they greatly revered me and stood in awe of my name. They passed on to the people the truth of the instructions they received from me. They did not lie or cheat. They walked with me, living good and righteous lives, and they turned many from lives of sin. And mind you, listen, y'all. The words of a priest's lips should preserve knowledge of Yahuwah, and people should go to him for instruction, for the priest is the messenger of Yahuwah. But you priests have left Yahuwah's paths. Your instructions have caused many to sin. You have corrupted the covenant I made with the Levites, says Yahuwah. So I made you despised and humiliated in the eyes of all the people. For you have not obeyed me, but have shown favoritism in the way you carry out my instructions. A call to faithfulness. Are we not all the children of the same Father? Are we not all created by the same God? Then why do we betray each other, violating the covenant of our ancestors? Judah has been unfaithful, and a detestable thing has been done in Israel and in Jerusalem. The men of Judah have defiled Yahuwah's beloved sanctuary by marrying women who worship idols. May Yahuwah cut off from the nation of Israel every last man who has done this and yet brings an offering to Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies. Remember, that's a big no-no. We are not to marry outside of, let me put it this way. We are not to marry those who worship other gods, right? Why? That's what got Samson in trouble. That's what got Solomon in trouble. Why? Because they turn your hearts away from the instructions of Yah. And it's a slow, slippery slope. You don't readily see it right away. But then you begin to compromise on the things you do. And before you know it, you are way out here. And you don't even realize why. Because you disobeyed Yah's command by marrying somebody who does not know him. That is forbidden. He said they will turn you away from me. And I don't know why a lot of times we think we know better than Yah. Like, a lot of us think that we can beat Yah's system. Like, we're above the system and, oh, yeah, he ain't talking about me. But I really know this person. I know I got this feeling that, no. Your heart will eventually be turned away from Yah, especially if you were already half-stepping on keeping the commands in the first place. If you already half-stepping living a righteous life, they gonna, especially if they way stronger than you, they just gonna pull you out there. And the strongest one wins. May Yahuwah cut off from the nation of Israel every last man who has done this and yet brings an offering to Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies. Here's another thing that you do. You cover Yahuwah's altar with tears, weeping and groaning, because he pays no attention to your offerings and doesn't accept them with pleasure. You cry out, why doesn't Yahuwah accept my worship? I'll tell you why. Because Yahuwah has witnessed the vows you and your wife made when you were young, but you have been unfaithful to her, though she remained your faithful partner, the wife of your marriage vows. Didn't Yahuwah make you one with your wife? In body and spirit, you are his. And what does he want? Godly children from your union. So guard your heart. Remain loyal to the wife of your youth. For I hate divorce, says Yahuwah, the God of Israel. To divorce your wife is to overwhelm her with cruelty, says Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies. So guard your heart and do not be unfaithful to your wife. You have wearied Yahuwah with your words. How have we wearied him, you ask? You have wearied him by saying all who do evil are good in Yahuwah's sight, and he is pleased with them. You have wearied him by asking, where is this God of justice? Chill, Sire. Stop. Malachi chapter 3. Look, I am sending my messenger, and he will prepare the way before me. Then the Lord, who you are seeking, will suddenly come to his temple. The messenger of the covenant, whom you look for so eagerly, is surely coming, says Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies. But who will be able to endure it when he comes? Who will be able to stand and face him when he appears? For he will be like a blazing fire that refines metal, or like a strong soap that bleaches clothes. He will sit like a refiner of silver, burning away the dross. He will purify the Levites, refining them like gold and silver, so that they may once again offer acceptable sacrifices to Yahuwah. Then once more Yahuwah will accept the offerings brought to him by the people of Judah and Jerusalem, as he did in the past. At that time, I will put you on trial. I am eager to witness against all the sorcerers and adulterers and liars. I will speak against those who cheat employees of their wages, who oppress widows and orphans, who deprive the foreigners living among you of justice. For these people do not fear me, says Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies. Remember, it's that constant message that Yahuwah tells us. He said, do what's right. Don't cheat. Don't cheat your people out of their wages. Don't oppress the widows and the orphans. Give proper justice. Give proper justice to the strangers and the foreigners living among you. He said, people that don't do these things, he said, I'm going to just read it again, the whole verse 5. At that time, I will put you on trial. I am eager to witness against all sorcerers and adulterers and liars. Remember, sorcerers, those who calling on the dark powers or using the name JC, but they're really not talking about Yah. They're talking about another God whom they go to soothsayers and sorcerers and crystal ball readers to get power and get their palms read in the future and all that stuff so they can have power over the people. He's talking about you sorcerers, those standing in the pulpit doing those things. Like, God, when I say I seen that, like, I wanted to throw up. I cannot believe that there was people really in the pulpit that actually went to witches to get power, to do something in their church and fool the people like it's really the power of Yah that's doing all this stuff. And I'm like I said, that's why I make it my point to use Yah's name and his alone. I will speak against those who cheat employees of their wages, who oppress widows and orphans, who deprive foreigners living among you of justice. For these people do not fear me, says Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies. I am Yahuwah, and I do not change. This is why you descendants of Jacob are not already destroyed. Ever since the days of your ancestors, you have scorned my decrees and failed to obey them. Now return to me, and I will return to you, says Yahuwah. But you ask, how can we return when we have never gone away? Should people cheat Yah? Yet you have cheated me. But you ask, what do you mean? And when did we ever cheat you? You have cheated me of the tithes and offerings due to me. You are under a curse, for your whole nation has been cheating me. Let me bring out something I should have said from the beginning. Everything that the book of Malachi, like all these questions, this is like a quick recap of everything that Israel has done from the beginning until the time they go into captivity. That's why they keep asking, and Yahuwah is hitting it from the beginning all the way to the end. Everything that he had to keep talking to them about. So it's like he said, oh, and remember when you asked me such and such and such? Well, let me tell you how you did this. Like, that's how the whole book is set up, But a lot of times when we hear the book of Malachi, really the only thing that we hear is, will a man rob God? Like, bro, did you miss all the other questions that everything else he was talking about everything that the people were doing? It wasn't just robbing them in tithes and offerings. And remember, tithes was food, and the offering, like, Yahuwah makes a distinction what tithes are. Tithes are always 100% food. We still have farmers. We still have people that have gardens and stuff. When I produce fruit, like when I do the first fruits from my garden, I was like, I thank you, Father. This is the first fruits from my garden. Like last year, it was like a tomato and cucumber, the first fruits. I may not have had a big garden, but Father, I thank you. I dedicate these first fruits to you. And I took them and I gave them away. I gave them to somebody in need, right? So that was my way of like honoring Yah. Some people may do it a little different, but I just but that's how the book of Malachi is set up. But people take out one particular thing and don't give the whole teaching in context, and people go off on a tangent on other things. It's like really back y'all doing. Come on, that he wasn't just talking about that. You need to see the whole story. But the ones that do that, they just worried about stuff in their pockets with your money. So that's why they take that out. Oh, well, the man, you have robbed by not bringing all of this into the storehouse. We need this. Y'all gonna get it. I'm telling y'all. Y'all playing. Should people cheat Yah? Yet you have cheated me. But you ask, what do you mean? And when did we ever cheat you? You have cheated me of the tithes and offerings due to me. You are under a curse, for your whole nation has been cheating me. Bring all the tithes into the storehouse so that there will be enough food in my temple. Remember, tithes is food, so there will be enough food. Remember, the Levites that was there, they're paid from Yah. You know, they didn't get a portion of land. Yahuwah said, everything that the people give to me, I am in return going to give it to the Levites because they serve me directly. So everything that the people give me, I give to my priests and to the Levites, right? I am their portion. So everything given to me, I in turn give it to them. Bring all the tithes into the storehouse so there will be enough food in my temple. If you do, says Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies, I will open the windows of heaven for you. I will pour out a blessing so great you will not have enough room to take it in. Try it. Put me to the test. Your crops will be abundant, for I will guard them from the insects and disease. Your grapes will not fall from the vine before they are ripe, says Yahuwah. Then all the nations will call you blessed, for your land will be such a delight, says Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies. You have said terrible things about me, says Yahuwah, but you say, what do you mean? What have we said against you? You have said, what's the use of serving Yah? What have we gained by obeying his commands or by trying to show Yahuwah that we are sorry for our sins? From now on, we will call the arrogant blessed. For those who do evil get rich, and those who dare Yah to punish them suffer no harm. Then those who feared Yahuwah spoke with each other, and Yahuwah listened to what they said. In his presence, a scroll of remembrance was written to record the names of those who feared him and always thought about the honor of his name. That just blesses me. I'm going to read that again. You know, he was just saying, he said, you all y'all over here talking against me. He said, but there's a group of people who don't talk against me. He said, and they talk amongst themselves, honoring my name, and they keep the honor of my... I'm going to read it again. Verse 16, those who feared Yahuwah spoke with each other, and Yahuwah listened to what they said. In his presence, a scroll of remembrance was written to record the names of those who feared him and always thought about the honor of his name. They will be my people, says Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies. On the day when I act in judgment, they will be my own special treasure. I will spare them as a father spares an obedient child. Then you again will see the difference between the righteous and the wicked, between those who serve Yah and those who do not. Bro. Last chapter for the day, Malachi chapter 4, the coming day of judgment. Yahuwah, the God of heaven's army, says the day of judgment is coming, burning like a furnace. On that day, the arrogant and wicked will be burned up like straw. They will be consumed, roots, branches, and all. But for you who fear my name, the sun... You see how he keeps saying that? Just in Malachi alone, how many times he says that? Is he talking about his own name and how he's jealous of his own name? A scroll of remembrance is written for those who fear and keep the honor of Yah's name. Those of us who make a clear distinction, we serve Yahuwah. We call him by his name, the God of heaven and earth, the God of our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who called on his name and his name alone. He said a scroll of remembrance is written for them. And in the day of judgment, those are the ones I am going to keep. Those are the ones that I am going to keep safe. I'm going to read it again. Yahuwah, the God of heaven's army, says the day of judgment is coming, burning like a furnace. So on that day, the arrogant and the wicked will be burned up like straw. They will be consumed, roots, branches, and all. But for you who fear my name, the Son of Righteousness will rise with healing in his wings, and you will go free, leaping with joy like calves let out to pasture. On the day when I act, you will tread upon the wicked as if they were dust under your feet, says Yahuwah, the God of heaven's armies. Remember to obey the law of Moses, my servant, all the decrees. And remember, it wasn't Moses' law. It was the law that Moses written down that came directly from Yah. And it wasn't just given at that time. All the way from the beginning, they were obeying it. But this time, Yahuwah reissued the law or his instructions to his people in written form so that they could keep it, so they could always keep it before them, right? Remember to obey the law of Moses, my servant, all the decrees and regulations that I gave him on Mount Sinai for all of Israel. Look, I am sending you the prophet Elijah before the great and dreadful day that Yahuwah arrives. His preaching will turn the hearts of the fathers to their children and the hearts of the children to their fathers. Otherwise, I will come and strike the land with a curse. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today. That was all of the book of Malachi. Malachi 1, 2, 3, and 4. They were really short chapters. And I know this video was long today, but I had to give you the stories and stuff and everything that was going on. And it's so friggin' awesome that I started with that. Because, and like I said, I didn't read ahead for today's reading. But as I began to read it, it clearly shows that it all just kind of fell in order. Everything just meshed together today. My stories and the book. It's awesome. Okay. So if you weren't here for the whole thing, hey, go back and listen to it. Just go back and read the book of Malachi. If you want to hear the stories, rewind it all the way to the beginning for about 5 to 10 minutes. I'm just talking about that. So with that being said, beautiful people, tomorrow we start, and you'll know why we start the book of Job tomorrow, because I forgot, along with Psalms and Proverbs, I also put the book of Job at the end, right? So, but go back and listen to the beginning, how y'all reminded me that I did that yesterday when I clearly had forgotten that I did that, and I was just going to go right into the book of Psalms and Proverbs. So he reminded me yesterday through someone else by clicking on a video that I did back in June to remind me of that. So like I said, Yah is always faithful. He's always faithful. And he cares about even the smallest things. Even when we forget, he reminds us in his love and in his mercy and in his grace to keep us on track, y'all. And the blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. And also remember that the first 21 verses of Numbers talks about the Nazirite vow. A man or a woman can take a Nazirite vow, and it is still applicable today. So if you want or you're interested in what it is, I recommend that you actually go read that. Read it. Take the vow. Take the vow. Take the vow. Nazirites get power. Don't do it for the power, but I'm saying it draws you close, and they hold a special place in Yahuwah's heart for those who take that vow. All right? And this is, and Yahuwah spake to Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name, whose name? Yah's name, upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. Who will bless them? Who will bless us? Yah will bless us. When Yah's name is put on us, Yah himself will come and bless us. All right, y'all, I'm done. I love you. See you bright and early in the morning, 7:30 Saturday, Eastern Standard Time. That's it. I'm done. Love y'all. Peace.